Imagine you are sitting alone in your room, staring at the ceiling. It's late at night, and the world outside is asleep. But inside your mind, a storm is raging. Thoughts of the past, regrets, and failures circle around you like shadows that refuse to fade. You try to push them away, but they come back stronger, pulling you into a spiral of sadness and hopelessness. Why does this happen? Why is it so hard to escape from our own minds? Have you ever wondered why some people go through immense hardships yet remain peaceful, while others crumble under the weight of their own thoughts? Why does happiness feel so temporary and sadness so permanent? Why does it feel like no matter what you do, there is always something pulling you back into suffering? Think about this. If someone told you that your problems are not as real as they seem, would you believe them? If someone said that your suffering is just an illusion created by your mind, would you be willing to see beyond it? Here's a simple example. Imagine you are walking in a dark forest, and you suddenly see a snake on the ground. Your heart races, your body tenses up, and fear takes over. But then, when you bring a light closer, you realize it was just a rope. The fear disappears instantly. The snake was never real, it was just your perception. In the same way, most of our suffering is created by our mind, and once we bring awareness to it, it loses its power. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, a place where deep wisdom meets simple understanding. If you have ever felt trapped in your own thoughts, lost in sadness, or burdened by the weight of life, this video is for you. Today, we will explore how overcoming depression is easier than you think, using the timeless wisdom of Buddhism. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring more life-changing insights to you. Depression feels like an endless tunnel, but what if there is a way out? What if the suffering you feel is not as permanent as it seems? Buddhism teaches that the root of all suffering lies in our attachment to thoughts and emotions. The more we identify with them, the stronger they become. But when we begin to see them for what they really are, just passing clouds in the sky of our mind, everything changes. Buddha taught that suffering exists, but he also taught that it can end. The key is understanding how our mind works. Most people believe that their thoughts define them. They think, I am depressed, instead of realizing, I am experiencing a passing feeling of sadness. This small shift in perspective can change everything. The first step to overcoming depression is to observe your thoughts instead of becoming them. Imagine standing by a river, watching leaves float by. Each leaf is a thought. You don't jump into the river and chase the leaves, you just watch them go. But in daily life, we do the opposite. We cling to negative thoughts, letting them pull us under. The more we resist, the stronger they become. Another important lesson from Buddhism is that everything is impermanent. Just like seasons change, just like day turns into night, emotions come and go. But when you are stuck in depression, it feels like sadness is permanent. This is because your mind keeps replaying the same painful thoughts, making them feel like they will last forever. But the truth is, no feeling, no matter how deep, stays forever. Think about a time when you laughed so hard that you forgot all your worries. In that moment, depression did not exist. This proves that sadness is not a fixed part of you. It's something that comes and goes. But when we identify too much with it, we lose sight of this truth. Another reason depression feels overwhelming is because we resist pain instead of accepting it. Buddhism teaches that suffering grows when we try to run away from it. But when we stop fighting and simply observe, the pain begins to lose its grip. This is why meditation is such a powerful tool. It helps us see our thoughts for what they are, just passing waves in the ocean of our mind. You are not your sadness. You are not your thoughts. You are something much greater. In the moment you start to realize this, the weight of depression begins to lift. In the next part, we will explore how to break free from the cycle of negative thoughts and find a path to lasting peace. Breaking free from the cycle of negative thoughts. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let go of everything else and just be here. You are carrying so much inside your mind. Worries, regrets, fears. But have you ever stopped to ask, where do these thoughts come from? And more importantly, why do they never seem to stop? Your mind is like a river. Thoughts flow constantly, one after another, never resting. Some are gentle ripples, some are violent waves. You may think you have control, but the more you try to stop them, the stronger they come. The mind is restless, always pulling you into the past or pushing you into the future. But have you noticed? It never allows you to just be here, in this moment. Imagine a wheel spinning in the air. It moves because you keep pushing it. The moment you stop pushing, it slows down. Your thoughts are the same. They only keep spinning because you give them energy, by engaging with them, believing them, fearing them. The moment you stop giving them power, They lose their grip. But how do you do that? Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become. But you are not your thoughts." Just because a thought enters your mind does not mean it is true. It does not mean it belongs to you. Most of your thoughts are just echoes, repeating words from the past, fears from childhood, opinions of others. Have you ever wondered, how many of my thoughts are truly my own? When you are sad, your mind whispers, "You are worthless. No one cares." When you are afraid, it tells you, "You will fail. You are not strong enough." But where do these words come from? Who is speaking? If you were truly worthless, why would your heart still seek peace? If you were truly weak, why would you still be fighting? These thoughts are nothing more than illusions, yet you treat them as truth. Try this. The next time a painful thought enters your mind, do not fight it. Do not react. Simply watch it, as if it were a cloud passing in the sky. Say to yourself, "Ah, here is sadness. Here is doubt." And then, let it go. Do not invite it to stay. Do not hold on to it. Just watch and release. This is the secret. You are not the thoughts. You are the watcher of thoughts. And the moment you realize this, they lose their power over you. Have you ever had a bad dream? In the dream, it feels real. You are running, struggling, afraid. But then you wake up, and suddenly, it is gone. The fear, the pain, it disappears in an instant. What changed? The dream did not disappear. You simply realized it was not real. Your thoughts work the same way. Right now, they feel real because you believe them. But the moment you start watching them instead of following them, you wake up. And when you wake up, you realize you are never trapped. But waking up is not easy. The mind will resist. It will pull you back, whispering, "No, this is real. This pain is forever." And if you believe it, you will fall right back into the cycle. This is why awareness is the key. You must be awake, not just with your body, but with your mind. Here's something interesting. Have you noticed that your mind speaks in voices? Sometimes it is your own voice. Sometimes it sounds like your parents, a teacher, an old friend. Where do these voices come from? Why do they appear when you are sad? From the moment you were born, your mind has been collecting information. Every word you heard, every experience, every fear, it is all stored inside you. And when you are at your weakest, your mind plays these voices back. It tells you stories. It keeps you trapped in old pain, old fears, old beliefs. But here is the truth. You are not that voice. You existed before that voice. You will exist after it. The voice is just noise, like the wind blowing through trees. It may be loud, but it is not you. So what happens when you stop listening? What happens when you stop believing every thought that enters your mind? Freedom happens. Right now, you might think, "I cannot control my mind. My thoughts are too strong." But think of this. If you had no control, why do your thoughts change so quickly? One moment, you are sad. Then you hear a joke, and suddenly, you laugh. If depression was permanent, this would not be possible. But it happens. And this proves something important. Your emotions, no matter how strong, are temporary. But the mind tricks you. It convinces you that sadness is forever, that pain will never end. Yet, just like clouds in the sky, just like waves in the ocean, your emotions come and go. The only reason they seem to stay is because you keep holding on to them. Imagine holding a rope that is burning your hand. The pain is unbearable, but you refuse to let go. The tighter you grip, the more it hurts. But the moment you release it, the pain stops. This is exactly how your suffering works. You are holding on to it, feeding it, believing in it. But you do not have to. You can let go. This is why meditation is so powerful. When you sit in silence and simply watch your thoughts, you begin to see they are just passing images. Some are pleasant, some are painful, but none of them are permanent. The more you practice, the more distance you create between yourself and your thoughts. And the day will come when a sad thought enters your mind, but instead of sinking into it, you will just smile. Because you will finally understand, it is just a passing cloud. Depression is not your enemy. It is just a shadow cast by your mind. And once you shine the light of awareness on it, it disappears. In the next part, we will go deeper into how to truly embrace the present moment and free yourself from the weight of the past and the worries of the future. The power of impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. Sit with me for a moment. Breathe. Feel the air move in and out of your body. This moment you are in, it is already passing. The breath you just took is gone. The feeling you had a second ago is fading. Nothing stays the same. And yet, we suffer because we believe that pain, sadness, or hardship will last forever. But let me tell you something, nothing in this life is permanent. Not even your suffering. Think about the sky. Some days it is bright and clear, full of warmth and light. Other days it is covered with heavy, dark clouds. But no matter how strong the storm, it always passes. The sky itself does not change. Your mind is like the sky. Thoughts, emotions, and struggles are like the clouds. They come, they go, but they are never permanent. Yet, when we are in pain, we forget this truth. We believe that the storm will never end. But can any storm last forever? Tell me, have you ever had a bad day? One where everything seemed to go wrong? Maybe you felt hopeless, as if nothing would ever get better. But then, a week later, or a month later, you barely remembered how heavy that day felt. You moved on. The sadness faded. This is proof that everything changes. But the mind is tricky. It clings to pain as if holding on to it will give us control. When we are hurt, we replay the moment over and over again, feeding our suffering. Why do we do this? Because deep inside, we fear letting go. We fear that if we stop thinking about the pain, we will lose something important. But suffering is not a treasure. Holding on to it will never make us stronger. Letting go will. Think of a river. If you try to grab water with your hands, it slips through your fingers. The more tightly you hold, the more you lose. But if you simply let your hands rest in the water, you can feel its coolness, its movement, its life. This is how we should hold our emotions. Not with force, not with fear, but with gentle awareness. They will flow through us, and they will pass. Pain is like fire. If you touch it, it burns. If you try to fight it, it only grows. But if you step back and simply observe, the flames settle on their own. We suffer because we keep touching the fire, believing we can control it. But no emotion, no matter how strong, can last forever. Many people ask, if pain is temporary, why does it feel like it lasts forever? The answer is simple, because we keep carrying it. Imagine you pick up a heavy rock and walk with it for hours. The weight doesn't change, but your arms grow tired, your back starts to ache, and soon, it feels unbearable. Now imagine you simply put the rock down. The relief is instant. The rock didn't change. You did. Your sadness, your struggles, your regrets, they're the rock. You are the one carrying them, and you can set them down at any time. But first, you must trust that you will be okay without them. The Buddha once said, everything arises and passes away. Joy does not stay. Pain does not stay. Even the thoughts you are thinking right now will soon be replaced by new ones. And yet, we cling to each moment as if it will last forever. Why? Because the mind is afraid of change. But change is not the enemy. Change is freedom. Close your eyes for a moment and think about the happiest memory of your life. See it in your mind. Feel the warmth, the peace, the joy. Now, open your eyes. That moment is gone, isn't it? It passed, just like every other moment. But does that mean it was meaningless? No. It means that it was beautiful while it lasted. And now, a new moment has taken its place. Suffering comes when we refuse to accept this truth. We want happiness to last forever, and we want pain to end immediately. But life does not work that way. Life is always moving, always changing, always flowing. The more we fight against this, the more we suffer. The more we accept it, the more we find peace. A man once came to the Buddha, full of sorrow. He had lost his loved one and could not stop grieving. How do I end this pain? He asked. The Buddha simply smiled and said, go and find a house where no one has ever lost a loved one. Bring me a mustard seed from that house, and I will heal your pain. The man searched for days, knocking on every door. But every family had lost someone. Every home had known grief. Finally, he understood. The pain he felt was not his alone. It was part of life itself. And in accepting this, his suffering began to ease. This is the nature of the world. Nothing stays the same. No pain, no joy, no moment is permanent. And the sooner we realize this, the sooner we can be free. So, when sadness comes, do not fear it. When pain arises, do not fight it. Watch it. Observe it. See it for what it is, just another passing cloud in the sky of your mind. You are not the cloud. You are the sky. And the sky is always there, untouched, unbroken, and free. Embracing the present, the key to inner peace. Sit down. Breathe. Feel this moment. Do not rush ahead. Do not look back. Just sit and feel what is happening right now. The wind outside. The sound of your breath. The way your body rests. This moment, this simple, ordinary moment, is the key to everything. Most people are never here. They live in the past, replaying old memories like broken records. Or they live in the future, imagining problems that have not even happened. Their mind is always somewhere else. But life does not exist in the past or the future. Life is only here, in the present. Think about this. How much of your sadness comes from the past? Regret, guilt, shame. And how much of your fear comes from the future? Worry, anxiety, uncertainty. But right now, in this very second, where is the pain? If you were just sitting, breathing, existing, where is the suffering? The past is gone. The future has not come. Only this moment remains. But the mind does not want to stay here. It keeps running, like a restless traveler who refuses to stop. It pulls you back to what was. It drags you forward to what might be. It fills your head with thoughts, endless thoughts, making you forget the only thing that truly matters, the present moment. If you learn to stay here, truly stay, you will see something strange. Your worries, your fears, your sadness, they start to lose their power. Because all of them exist only in thought, not in reality. And when you stop feeding them, they begin to fade. Have you ever watched a child play? A child does not worry about yesterday. A child does not stress about tomorrow. A child simply plays, laughs, feels, experiences. They do not question, am I happy? They just are. They live fully, without resistance. And in that simple way of being, they are free. But as we grow, we forget this. We get lost in our own minds, in the stories we tell ourselves. I am not good enough. I have failed. What if something bad happens? Thought after thought, we build walls around ourselves, and soon, we are trapped. Buddha once said, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. This is the way to peace. It is not complicated. It is not something you must chase. It is already here, waiting for you to notice. But how do we stay in the present? How do we stop the mind from running? The answer is simple: watch. Do not fight your thoughts. Do not try to stop them. Just watch. Like sitting by a river, watching leaves float by. The thoughts come, and they go. But you remain still, untouched. Most people think they need to control their mind. They try to push away negative thoughts, force themselves to be happy, struggle to change what they feel. But this only creates more suffering. The real way is not control, but awareness. When you simply notice what is happening, without getting lost in it, a shift happens. The thoughts lose their grip. The emotions soften. And suddenly, you are here again, in the present moment. Try this. Take a deep breath. Feel the air as it enters. Feel it as it leaves. Just one breath. In, out. For that one moment, you were present. The mind was silent. No past, no future, just now. That is the key. That is the doorway to peace. Every time you feel overwhelmed, every time the sadness comes, the anxiety rises, stop. Breathe. Bring yourself back. Ask yourself, right now, in this moment, am I okay? And you will see, the answer is almost always yes. The suffering was never in the present. It was in the thoughts about the present. You do not need to run from your mind. You do not need to escape your emotions. You only need to see them for what they are: passing clouds in the sky of your awareness. They come. They go. But the sky remains. You are the sky, not the clouds. In the end, peace is not something you find. It is something you return to. It is already here, in this moment, waiting for you to notice. So sit, breathe, and just be. Because right now, in this very second, there is nothing to fear. There is nothing missing. There is only this moment. And this moment is enough. Detaching from pain, overcoming emotional attachments. Sit down, take a deep breath, and listen carefully. What is the weight that you carry in your heart? Is it the memory of someone who hurt you? Is it the fear of being alone? Or is it the deep sorrow of something lost? Whatever it is, I want you to understand one thing: this pain is not permanent. It only stays because you hold on to it. People suffer not because life is cruel, but because they cling too tightly. They hold on to relationships that no longer serve them, to words that were spoken long ago, to moments that have already passed. They trap themselves in the past, expecting it to change, but the past is like water: it flows away, never to return. Imagine a person holding on to a burning coal, refusing to let go. The longer they hold it, the more pain they feel. But in their mind, they believe that holding on will somehow protect them. They think that letting go means losing something valuable. This is the illusion that keeps people trapped in suffering. The truth is, holding on only causes more pain. The moment you release the coal, the burning stops. Buddha once said, attachment is the root of suffering. Think about this carefully. Everything you are suffering from right now, whether it is heartbreak, disappointment, or fear, is because of attachment. You attach to people, to expectations, to the idea of how things should be. And when reality does not match your expectations, suffering begins. But here's the secret: When you learn to let go, peace follows. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you become cold or emotionless. It simply means you stop holding on to things that are already gone. It means you accept life as it is, instead of how you wish it to be. Look at the trees in autumn. When the leaves turn yellow and dry, the tree does not hold on to them. It lets them fall, knowing that new leaves will come in time. The tree does not suffer. It does not cry for the leaves it has lost. It trusts the cycle of life. If only people could learn from the trees, they would find peace so easily. Right now, you might be thinking, but I can't let go. This pain is too deep. I understand. It is not easy. But ask yourself, what are you really holding on to? Are you holding on to love, or the memory of love? Are you holding on to a person, or the idea of who they used to be? Most of the time, we do not cling to reality, but to a dream that no longer exists. Imagine standing by a river, watching a leaf float by. If you try to grab it, the water will resist. The more force you use, the more it slips away. But if you simply watch, the river will carry it on its own. Life is the same. The more you force, the more you suffer. But when you let go, life takes care of itself. Some people say, if I let go, I will have nothing left. But this is another illusion. When you let go of the unnecessary weight, you do not become empty, you become free. You make space for something new, something better. Holding on does not protect you, it only keeps you stuck in the past. Think of a bird that refuses to leave a broken nest. The nest is falling apart, but the bird stays because it is afraid. It believes it has nowhere else to go. But the moment it spreads its wings, it realizes that the whole sky belongs to it. The bird was never meant to stay in one place forever. And neither are you. Pain is a teacher. It comes into your life to show you something. But once the lesson is learned, you do not need to carry the pain anymore. You can thank it and let it go. Every wound you have will heal, but only if you stop reopening it with your thoughts. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Think of the one thing that has been weighing you down. Now, imagine yourself releasing it. See it floating away like a leaf in the wind. Feel the lightness in your heart. This is the power of letting go. The path to freedom is not about escaping life. It is about embracing it fully, without resistance. Life is always changing, always moving. When you learn to flow with it instead of against it, suffering disappears. In the next part, we will explore how to bring balance to our emotions and thoughts, so that we no longer get trapped in extremes. But for now, just remember this: what you hold on to holds on to you. When you let go, you set yourself free. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. Do you notice how simple this moment is? No past, no future, just now. But your mind, it doesn't like this simplicity. It wants to pull you into thoughts, some from yesterday, some from years ago, some about a tomorrow that hasn't even arrived. And in this endless tug-of-war, you suffer. Life is always moving, always changing. But the mind wants to cling. It holds on to pain, onto memories, onto expectations. And when reality does not match what the mind desires, suffering is born. This is why you feel trapped. This is why happiness seems so far away. But what if I told you that the way out of this suffering is not in fighting your thoughts, not in running away from emotions, but in finding balance? Most people live in extremes. Some suppress their emotions, pretending they don't exist. Others drown in them, letting sadness, anger, or fear consume them completely. Neither path leads to peace. True freedom is in the middle path, as the Buddha called it. A way of living where you neither reject your feelings nor become their slave. You simply see them for what they are. Imagine standing by the ocean. Waves rise and fall. Some are big. Some are small. Some crash loudly. Some barely make a sound. But no matter how strong the wave is, it always disappears back into the sea. This is how emotions work. They come, they stay for a while, and then they go. But when you fight them, when you panic and try to push them away, you only create more suffering. You may think, but my pain is different. My sadness is too deep. My fears are too strong. No, they are not. They only feel this way because you have given them power. You have fed them with your attention, replayed them in your mind, allowed them to shape your identity. But what if you stopped feeding them? What if you just watched them, like an outsider, without judgment, without resistance? Try this now. Think of a painful memory. Something that has been troubling you. Now, instead of drowning in it, step back. Observe it like a cloud passing in the sky. Does it still have the same power? Or do you see that it is just a thought, one of millions that come and go every day? This is the middle path. Not running, not clinging, just observing. Balance is not something you achieve once and keep forever. It is something you practice every moment. Like walking on a rope, sometimes you lean too much one way, and sometimes the other. But if you keep adjusting, keep coming back to the center, you never fall. Life will always have ups and downs, but if you remain centered, they will not shake you. Look at nature. The tree bends when the wind is strong but does not break. The river moves around obstacles but never stops flowing. The seasons change, but the earth remains. This is balance. This is wisdom. And this is what your mind must learn. When sadness comes, let it come. Do not chase it away. But do not hold on to it either. When happiness comes, enjoy it. But do not cling to it. Everything is temporary, and the more you understand this, the more peace you will feel. Some people believe that to be at peace, they must remove all negative emotions from their life. This is not true. Peace does not mean the absence of suffering. It means knowing that suffering will come and go, but you will remain unchanged. A storm may rage, but the sky is still there. So what can you do right now? First, stop believing everything your mind tells you. It is not always your friend. It creates problems that do not exist. It holds on to pain longer than necessary. It imagines worst-case scenarios that never happen. Do not trust it blindly. Watch it. Question it. Then most importantly, do not let it control you. Second, practice balance in your daily life. Do not overwork yourself, but do not be lazy. Do not chase pleasure blindly, but do not reject joy when it comes. Do not fear sadness, but do not let it define you. Find the center in everything. Third, breathe. Whenever your mind feels heavy, return to your breath. It is always here, always steady, always present. Inhale. Exhale. Feel the rhythm of life moving through you. The present moment is the only thing that is real. Everything else is just a story your mind is telling. You do not need to escape your emotions. You do not need to drown in them either. All you need to do is find balance. Walk the middle path, and suffering will no longer have a hold on you. Cultivating compassion, healing through loving kindness. Come, sit down. Take a deep breath. Let everything settle. The world is moving fast, but for now, be still. Let me tell you something that will change the way you see your pain. You have suffered. You have felt the weight of sadness pressing against your chest. Maybe you have cried alone, wondering if anyone understands. Maybe you have asked yourself, why do I feel this way? Why can't I just be happy? You are not alone in this. Every person you see, every stranger you pass, has felt pain. No one escapes suffering. But do you know what makes the difference? It is not avoiding pain, it is how we respond to it. Imagine you are holding a burning coal in your hand. It is hot, painful, unbearable. You want to throw it away, but something inside you tells you to hold on. This is how most people treat their suffering. They clutch it tightly, letting it burn them over and over again. But what if you could open your hand? What if you could release the coal, instead of gripping it tighter? Compassion is that open hand. It is the key to healing, not just for yourself, but for others. When you begin to understand suffering, not just your own, but the suffering of others, you unlock a door to deep healing. Think of someone who has hurt you. Maybe they spoke harshly. Maybe they ignored your pain. Maybe they left when you needed them the most. Now, ask yourself, why did they do that? Were they happy when they hurt you? No. People who are truly happy do not cause pain to others. The ones who hurt others are often carrying pain themselves. They may not even realize it, but their own suffering spills out in the way they treat others. When you understand this, something shifts inside you. Instead of anger, you begin to see their pain. Instead of resentment, you feel compassion. And here's the secret. When you open your heart to compassion, your own suffering begins to melt away. Think about this. Have you ever seen a candle lighting another candle? The first flame does not lose anything. It simply shares its light. Compassion works the same way. When you give kindness, when you wish for others to be free from suffering, you do not lose anything. In fact, you gain something priceless, a heart that is no longer weighed down by anger, bitterness, and sadness. This is why the Buddha taught the practice of metta, or loving kindness. It is the practice of sending well wishes to yourself, to your loved ones, to strangers, and even to those who have hurt you. At first, it may feel impossible. How can you wish well for someone who has caused you pain? But when you do, you free yourself. You are no longer controlled by the past. You are no longer trapped in the prison of resentment. Try this. Close your eyes. Think of yourself as a small child, innocent and full of wonder. Now, say to yourself, may I be happy. May I be free from suffering. May I find peace. Let those words settle in your heart. Then, think of someone you love deeply. Imagine their face. Say the same words for them. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you find peace. Now, take it further. Think of a stranger, someone you see but do not know. Say the same words for them. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you find peace. And now, take the hardest step. Think of someone who has hurt you. Someone who made you suffer. Can you wish them well? Can you say, may you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you find peace? If you can, you will feel something incredible, the chains of resentment breaking, the weight in your heart lifting. This is not for them. This is for you. Some may say, but what if they do not deserve my kindness? The answer is simple. You do not give kindness because others deserve it. You give kindness because you deserve peace. Carrying anger is like drinking poison and hoping the other person suffers. It only harms you. When you replace anger with compassion, you are the one who is set free. There is a great misunderstanding about compassion. Some think it means being weak, allowing others to hurt you again and again. But that is not true. Compassion does not mean allowing harm. It does not mean accepting injustice. It means seeing clearly, understanding that those who harm are also trapped in suffering. It means choosing peace instead of revenge. It means protecting your own heart from being filled with hate. If you have ever felt broken, if you have ever thought you were beyond healing, listen carefully. Healing does not come from getting revenge. It does not come from proving others wrong. It does not come from pretending you do not feel pain. Healing comes when you choose love over hate, understanding over judgment, peace over conflict. Think about a tree in the middle of a storm. The wind shakes it, the rain pounds against it, but it does not resist. It does not fight. It bends, it moves, it adapts, and in doing so, it survives. This is how you must be. When life shakes you, when pain comes, do not hold on to it like the burning coal. Let it go. Bend, but do not break. Move, but do not lose yourself. You have carried pain for so long, but today you have a choice. Will you hold on to the burning coal, or will you open your hand? Will you stay trapped in anger, or will you choose to free yourself through compassion? The decision is yours. And when you choose love, when you choose understanding, you will find that the darkness begins to lift, and a new light takes its place. Mindfulness in action, transforming everyday life. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs. Now, let it go. For just a second, notice that you are here, in this moment, and nowhere else. This is mindfulness. This is the secret to peace. People often believe that mindfulness is something special, something you practice only during meditation, sitting in silence with closed eyes. But that is not true. Mindfulness is not a ritual. It is not something separate from life. It is life itself. It is the art of truly being where you are, with full awareness, without being lost in past regrets or future worries. Think about this. How much of your day do you actually live? You wake up, but your mind is already thinking about work. You eat, but your thoughts are on the arguments of yesterday. You walk, but you are lost in thoughts of what might happen tomorrow. You do everything, but you are never fully present. Your body is here, but your mind is somewhere else. And in this way, life passes by, moment after moment, without ever being truly lived. Buddhism teaches that the present moment is the only truth. The past is just a memory. The future is just imagination. But right now, this moment, you can touch. You can experience. Yet, most people ignore this truth. They live trapped in the illusion of time, always running after something, always escaping something, never realizing that peace is not found in the past or the future. It is only here, now. Imagine this. You are drinking tea, but instead of enjoying it, you are thinking about work. You finished the tea, but you never really tasted it. This is how most people live their entire lives, eating without tasting, listening without hearing, looking without seeing. But what if you changed that? What if, for once, you truly tasted the tea, felt the warmth of the cup, the aroma rising with the steam, the gentle bitterness mixing with sweetness? Suddenly, a simple act becomes beautiful. This is mindfulness. Mindfulness is not just about meditation, it is about how you live. When you eat, eat. When you walk, walk. When you listen, truly listen. Do not let your mind wander. Do not let distractions steal your life away. When you are fully present, even the most ordinary moments become extraordinary. A simple conversation becomes meaningful. A deep breath feels like a gift. A walk in the park feels like a journey through life itself. Now, you might ask, why does this matter? Why is mindfulness important for overcoming depression? The answer is simple. Depression thrives in the past and the future. It feeds on regret, guilt, and fear of what's to come. But when you bring your mind into the present, depression has no place to exist. It dissolves like mist in the morning sun. Try this. Next time you feel overwhelmed, stop. Take a slow breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Listen to the sounds around you. Look at the details of the world, the way light falls on a surface, the gentle movement of leaves in the wind. In that moment, your mind will settle. Your thoughts will slow down. And you will realize that, despite everything, right now, you are okay. Many people spend their lives searching for peace, running after happiness. But peace is not something to be found. It is something to be realized. It is already within you, hidden beneath the noise of the mind. The only reason you cannot see it is because you are too distracted, too caught up in the endless stream of thoughts. But the moment you stop and become present, you will find that peace was always there, waiting for you. Some might say, but my problems are real. My pain is real. How can mindfulness help me? The truth is, pain exists, but suffering is a choice. When you resist pain, it grows. But when you accept it, observe it, and allow it to pass, it loses its power over you. Mindfulness teaches you this. It teaches you to stop running, to stop fighting, and instead, to simply be with what is, without judgment, without resistance. Look at nature. The river does not fight against the rocks, it flows around them. The sky does not hold on to clouds, it lets them pass. The tree does not resist the wind, it bends with it. This is mindfulness. This is the way to live. To move with life, instead of against it. When you start living mindfully, everything changes. You stop reacting blindly. You stop being controlled by your emotions. Instead, you respond with awareness. When anger arises, you see it and let it go. When sadness appears, you acknowledge it but do not hold on to it. When worry creeps in, you watch it, like clouds drifting across the sky, knowing that it, too, will pass. Depression is not always about what happens in life. It is about how we relate to it. Two people can go through the same hardship, yet one suffers deeply while the other remains at peace. The difference is awareness. The one who suffers is lost in thoughts, caught in emotions, unable to see clearly. The one who is at peace sees the situation for what it is, not as something permanent, but as something that will change, like everything else in life. Start today. Whatever you are doing, do it with full attention. When you wash your hands, feel the water. When you eat, taste the food. When you walk, feel your steps. Every moment is an opportunity to be present, to truly live. And when you live mindfully, depression loses its grip. The weight on your chest becomes lighter. The darkness begins to fade. And for the first time in a long time, you feel truly alive. This is the path of mindfulness. Not as an escape from life, but as a way to finally experience it as it is, in its fullest, most beautiful form. The role of karma, taking control of your destiny. Sit down for a moment. Breathe. Feel the air moving in and out of your lungs. Let go of everything for just a moment, your worries, your fears, your doubts. Right now, it is just you, in this moment. Nothing else exists. You may feel trapped in sadness. You may feel like life is unfair, like everything happens against you. But what if I told you that your suffering is not a punishment? What if I told you that every experience, good or bad, is a seed that you planted long ago? And that right now, in this very moment, you are planting the seeds for your future? This is the truth of karma. Not as superstition, not as something mystical, but as a law of cause and effect, just like gravity. When you throw a stone into a lake, ripples form. The ripples are not random. They're the result of your action. In the same way, every thought, every action, and every word creates a ripple in your life. Some say, if karma is real, why do good people suffer? But this is like asking, if a farmer plants good seeds today, why is his land still empty? The answer is simple. Seeds take time to grow. Some fruits ripen quickly, some take years. The hardships you face now may not be from this moment, but from something planted long ago. And what you do now will shape what comes next. This is not a reason to fear. This is a reason to be free. Because if your past actions created your present, that means your present actions are creating your future. And that means you are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not trapped in your suffering. You are shaping your destiny with every breath you take. Many people misunderstand karma. They think it is only about the past. But the real power of karma is in the present. Right now, in this moment, you are making choices that will shape your life. The way you think, the way you react, the way you hold on or let go, all of it is shaping your tomorrow. If you keep planting the same seeds of sadness, anger, or regret, what will grow? More sadness, more anger, more regret. But if you start planting seeds of understanding, patience, and peace, a different future will take shape. It is not magic. It is a natural law. Just like a mango seed will never grow into an apple tree, the seeds you plant in your mind will determine what grows in your life. Some people say, I cannot change. My life has been like this for too long. But imagine a road. If you keep walking in one direction for years, you may think there's no other way. But the truth is, at any moment, you can turn around. You can choose a new path. Yes, it may take time. Yes, it may feel unfamiliar. But once you take that first step, everything changes. The Buddha once said, what you think, you become. This is karma in its simplest form. If you think you are weak, you will live as a weak person. If you think you are lost, you will keep wandering. But if you believe that you can change, if you believe that suffering is not your final destination, then your path will begin to shift. Look around you. Every tree, every river, every mountain is constantly changing. Nothing is fixed. The same is true for your life. The person you were yesterday is not the person you are today. And the person you are today does not have to be the person you are tomorrow. But change does not happen by itself. It begins with awareness. It begins with the understanding that every moment is a new chance to plant a different seed. Every time you react with anger, you have a chance to choose patience. Every time you fall into sadness, you have a chance to breathe and let it pass. Every time you believe you are stuck, you have a chance to take one small step forward. The key is not to fight the past. It is to understand that the past is already done. You do not need to carry it forever. The future is still unwritten. And right now, in this very breath, you are shaping it. So, what will you choose? Will you keep walking the same road, planting the same seeds? Or will you take control of your destiny? Not by force, not by struggle, but by understanding that every small choice matters. Every small shift in thought, every small act of kindness, every moment of awareness creates ripples that will shape your life. This is karma, not as fate, not as punishment, but as the power you hold in every moment. You are not trapped. You are not powerless. You are the one who decides what happens next. The illusion of self, letting go of ego-based suffering. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Now, ask yourself, who are you? Are you your name, your job, your thoughts, your emotions? Who is the I that feels pain, that holds on to sadness, that suffers? You might think the answer is obvious, but is it really? If you are your thoughts, then why do they change? If you are your emotions, then why do they come and go? Buddha once said, all suffering begins with the illusion of self. This is where depression takes root, within the idea that I am separate, that I am suffering, that I am broken. But what if this I is just a story? What if the person you think you are is nothing more than a collection of passing thoughts and memories? What if, beyond all this noise, there is a deeper truth waiting to be discovered? Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You see a reflection of yourself. If the mirror is cracked, your reflection appears broken. But does that mean you are broken? No, it is only the mirror that is damaged, not you. In the same way, your mind is like a mirror. It reflects thoughts, emotions, and experiences. But those things are not you. Depression is like a crack in the mirror, making you believe you are shattered. But if you stop identifying with the reflection, you will realize that your true self remains untouched. The mind is tricky. It builds an identity, a story about who you are. It tells you, I am sad, I am not good enough, I am a failure. And the more you believe this, the stronger the illusion becomes. But what if you stopped believing? What if you saw these thoughts as nothing more than passing clouds in the sky? Wouldn't the sky remain unchanged? Look at a river. The water flows continuously, never stopping. You can't hold on to any drop, it keeps moving. Now, imagine trying to grasp the water, to keep it from flowing. The harder you hold on, the more it slips through your fingers. This is what happens when we cling to our thoughts and emotions. We try to hold on to something that is always changing, and in doing so, we create suffering. Buddhism teaches that the self is an illusion. The person you were 5 years ago is not the same person you are today. Your body has changed, your thoughts have changed, your emotions have changed. So, who are you? You are not the sadness you feel. You are not the voice in your head telling you that you are not enough. You are something beyond all of this, something vast, something still, something free. Think of a clear blue sky. The sky does not change, no matter how many storms pass through. Your true nature is like that sky. Thoughts, emotions, suffering, they are like clouds. Sometimes they are dark and heavy, sometimes they are light and gentle, but they never stay forever. And no matter how thick the clouds are, the sky is always there, untouched, waiting to be seen again. When you believe in the illusion of self, you suffer. You become trapped in a prison of your own thoughts. But here's the truth. There is no prison. There are only walls you have built in your mind. In the moment you stop identifying with the thoughts that keep you trapped, the walls disappear. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack. It is filled with pain, regrets, fears. You have carried it for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to be without it. But what if, just for a moment, you put it down? What if you let go? Wouldn't you feel lighter? Wouldn't you feel free? Letting go is not something you do. It is something you stop doing. Stop holding on to the identity of being broken. Stop clinging to the idea that you are your suffering. Depression only exists when you believe in the self that suffers. But when you see through the illusion, when you stop identifying with every thought and emotion, suffering begins to lose its power. Look at the ocean. On the surface, waves rise and fall, restless and wild. But deep below, there is only stillness. Your mind is the same. Thoughts and emotions may come and go on the surface, but underneath, there is something deeper and unshaken, peaceful awareness. This is who you truly are. You don't need to fight your thoughts. You don't need to struggle with your emotions. You only need to step back and observe them. Watch them as if they belong to someone else. See them rise, see them fade. And in that space of awareness, you will find freedom. Buddha never said life would be without pain. But he did say that suffering is optional. Pain happens, but suffering is the result of clinging to pain, of believing it defines you. When you let go of this illusion, you don't just overcome depression, you transcend it. You step into a state of being where peace is not something to be found, but something that was never lost. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. Now, ask yourself, how much pain have you carried all these years? How many moments have you spent drowning in regret, disappointment, and sorrow? It feels endless, doesn't it? Like a weight on your chest that never lifts. But what if I told you that pain is not your enemy? What if I told you that suffering is not here to break you, but to build you? There is a story of a man who once came to the Buddha, his face filled with suffering. He said, "Master, I am tired of this pain. I cannot escape it. No matter what I do, it follows me." The Buddha smiled gently and said, "Pain is like an arrow. The first arrow strikes when something painful happens in life. The second arrow is the suffering we create by resisting it." The man was confused. "But how do I stop the second arrow?" he asked. The Buddha replied, "You cannot control the first arrow, but you can choose whether to let the second one pierce you." This is what most people do not realize. Suffering is not in the pain itself, it is in how we react to it. Life will always bring challenges, but if we stop resisting, if we stop clinging to the idea that things should be different, we begin to find peace. Look at nature. The tree does not complain when the storm comes. It bends with the wind, allowing it to pass. The river does not fight the rocks in its path, it simply flows around them. Yet humans, unlike nature, resist what is. When sadness comes, we hold on to it. When pain arrives, we try to escape. But the more we fight, the stronger it becomes. If you want to overcome suffering, you must learn to accept it, not as a punishment, but as a teacher. Every painful experience you have ever had has shaped you, molded you, strengthened you. Even in your darkest moments, something inside you is growing. But most people never see this. They only see their wounds, not the wisdom hidden within them. Think about the hardest time in your life. At that moment, you thought you would never make it through. You thought the pain was too much. But here you are. You survived. And if you look closely, you will see that you are not the same person anymore. You are wiser. You are stronger. You are different. Yet, even now, you still carry pain. Why? Because you have not yet learned to let it go. You have held on to your suffering as if it were a part of you. But pain is not who you are. It is only something you have experienced. It is like a heavy bag you have been carrying on your shoulders. You can put it down anytime. But to do that, you must first realize that you are holding it. The Buddha once said, "You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger." The same is true for sadness, regret, and fear. These emotions do not harm anyone else. They only harm you. They sit inside your heart, slowly draining your energy, your joy, your peace. So how do you let go? You begin by facing your pain instead of running from it. Sit with it. Observe it. When sadness comes, do not push it away. Ask yourself, where is this feeling coming from? Is it from the past? Is it from something you cannot change? If so, why hold on to it? The past is like a fire that is already burned out. Yet you keep reaching into the ashes, hoping to find something that is no longer there. You relive old wounds, replay old mistakes, and carry burdens that no longer serve you. But the truth is, nothing exists outside of this moment. The past is gone. The future is not here yet. All you have is now. And in this moment, there is no suffering. Right now, in this breath, there is peace. But your mind, like an untamed animal, pulls you back into memories and fears. It tells you stories of what was and what could be. But none of it is real. The only thing that is real is this breath, this heartbeat, this moment. If you truly want to heal, you must return to this moment again and again. Do not live in the past. Do not worry about the future. Simply be here. And when pain comes, welcome it like an old friend. Sit with it. See it for what it is, not a curse, but a guide. Pain has always been your greatest teacher. It has shown you what you need to heal. It has forced you to grow. And if you look closely, you will see that your pain has made you who you are today. But it does not need to stay with you forever. You can learn from it, and then set it free. So take a deep breath. Feel the weight of all you have carried. And now, imagine yourself letting it go. Like leaves floating down a river, watch your pain drift away. It no longer controls you. It never did. You are free. Liberation from depression, walking the path to true freedom. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your body, feel it leave. In this moment, there is nothing but you and this breath. The past is gone. The future has not yet come. Right now, in this simple breath, you are free. But the mind, it does not want to stay here, does it? It pulls you back into its stories, its fears, its sadness. It whispers, you are not free. You are still trapped. But today, you will see the truth for yourself. For so long, you have carried the weight of your thoughts. You have believed in them. You have suffered because of them. But let me ask you, who is suffering? Is it truly you? Or is it just the mind creating an illusion? If you close your eyes and listen carefully, you will notice something. Thoughts come and go, but there is something that does not change. Something that watches. That is you. Not the sadness, not the pain, not the memories, just the watcher. And the watcher is always free. Depression is like standing in the middle of a storm. The wind is strong. The rain is heavy. You feel lost. But what if I told you that you are not the storm? You are the sky. The storm may rage, but it will pass. It always does. Has there ever been a storm in the history of the world that did not end? No. And just like that, no sadness lasts forever. No fear, no pain, no suffering, nothing stays unless you hold on to it. But this is where people get stuck. They try to fight the storm. They resist their sadness. They push away their pain. And the more they fight, the stronger it becomes. The way out is not through fighting, but through letting go. Through standing still and watching the storm pass. Because it will pass. It always does. Have you noticed? Some days, you feel heavy. Other days, you feel lighter. Some moments, you are lost in sadness. And then, for no reason, you suddenly laugh at something small. In that moment, the sadness is gone. Where did it go? Did it truly exist? Or was it just a passing cloud? If you see clearly, you will realize you have never been trapped. You were just lost in thought. You were never broken. You just believed you were. And now, the time has come to step out of the illusion. So, what is the path to true freedom? It is not a complicated path. It does not require deep knowledge or years of meditation. It is something you already have. Awareness. The moment you start watching your thoughts instead of being your thoughts, you are free. The moment you stop believing every emotion is permanent, you are free. The moment you realize that you are not sadness, not pain, not depression, you are free. There is a story of a man who carried a heavy sack of stones on his back for years. He walked everywhere with it, believing it was his burden to bear. One day, a wise teacher asked him, "Why do you carry this?" The man replied, "Because it is mine." The teacher smiled and said, "Then put it down." The man hesitated, then finally set the sack on the ground. And at that moment, he felt light for the first time in years. You are carrying a sack of heavy thoughts, old pains, and deep worries. But the truth is, you can put it down at any moment. It was never yours to carry. The pain was real, yes. The suffering was real. But the attachment to it, that was your choice. And just as you chose to hold on, you can choose to let go. Right now, take a deep breath. Feel the weight of the thoughts you have carried. And as you exhale, let them go. Even if it is just for a moment, feel what it is like to exist without them. Do you feel that lightness? That is what freedom feels like. And it is always there, waiting for you to notice. Some people ask, but what if the pain comes back? And the answer is simple, then let it come. And let it go. You do not have to fight it. You do not have to run from it. Just watch. Just breathe. Just be. That is all. The mind may scream, the thoughts may return, but you are not them. Buddha once said, Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Pain will come and go. Life will change. But suffering is a choice. And today, you can choose something different. You have walked a long journey through this series. You have seen the illusions of the mind, the impermanence of emotions, the power of awareness. And now, you stand at the final step. The step where you choose freedom. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Right now. Take a breath. Smile. Even if it is small. Even if it feels strange. Smile, because you have seen the truth. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are not trapped. You are free. If this series has helped you, if even one sentence has touched your heart, then let it grow. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. If you found wisdom here, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And tell us, what part of this journey resonated with you the most? Your words might help someone else find their own path to freedom. And remember, no matter what the mind tells you, you are already enough. You always were. And you always will be.